What's up? What is up, you guys? It's Shani with Healing Elements, here to do a very honest and authentic testimony video for Shani's testimony playlist, and it's talking about my personal experience and perhaps something that you've experienced or are going through currently or will experience during your spiritual awakening or journey to get closer to the other side and what lies beyond the veil. It is all about breaking down in order to break through, this video, and all about my breakdown and how a complete series of breakdowns, I believe, occur to some of us when we experience this surge, in a fast-paced way of spiritual awakening, Kundalini energy being, activated, or whether or not it is a gradual process. There is a lot of us out there, a big common denominator is having moments in which this, overload, overwhelming at times, surge and, download of energy and everything in which we discover when we go down the rabbit hole, so to speak, during a spiritual awakening can cause us in itself to have a breakdown, at least of our mental capacity, and wonder, of course, if we are mentally sound, insane, or are indeed tapping into what we all can as light beings on this planet, living in a physical vessel. It is sometimes overwhelming when we come in contact, of course, with channeling or again, just going through the motions of ascension or spiritual awakening. It really can open the veil and peel layers back in which the unseen becomes seen. Maybe you're experiencing, mediumship, apparitions, or just things that you have never experienced before that are new and something out of your prior realm of what you thought was possible. For instance, my girlfriend suffers with, sleep paralysis, and through a journey of going in the beginning through her spiritual awakening to a physical doctor, she now has undergone a lot of holistic, modalities and practices in which, definitely her and I think are on the same consensus that is something that is absolutely part of either astral travel or a spiritual awakening, some sort of phenomena that is paranormal and or something in which had to do with her spiritual awakening and her touching the other side. So guys, this is all about breaking down to break through, and how I literally had, my first breakdown, I guess, and it broke down my foundation of what I was used to, my father's sudden passing in 2011. So that initiated a very slow kind of ignition for my spiritual awakening. It came on very gradually and slowly, and I prayed, and prayed for solace. And when I prayed, I was not taking actions in order to back those prayers up. So I was escaping with substance and coping in a very toxic way to those around me and myself. And I had never had a problem with substance or alcohol at all in my late 30s, and I found myself faced with an absolutely toxic and reckless demeanor, behavior, and had lost all respect for myself at the end of this journey from 2011 to 2018. So 2011, the breaking down of the old, the Scorpio energy. My dad was Scorpio, so fitting that it would be his sudden passing that brought on precognitive dreams and all kind of abilities and different, yearnings and callings that, would intrigue me to discover within the spiritual realm. And it was very gradual and slow. And then my huge and entirely public, if you've known me that long, because I've been doing YouTube, my huge breakdown was in 2018. And I just want to let you know that in order to break through, I think sometimes life has got to break us down, because then we are only able to break through because of what we discover and the healing work and the wounds that we take a look at, that caused that breakdown. I think that we break down to break through to kickstart, the preliminary slow stages. At the time, it can come on very subtly, this breakdown, in order, to explain it more eloquently. When you're going through these changes and gaining perspective and new awareness and understanding of things that you might not even be able to relate in the beginning to other people. Maybe you were raised in a set religion, and this is going against all of what you've known, because you're getting into, say, like me, near-death experiences, and you were told that only a said religion goes to this afterlife, and you are beginning to, in your own inner compass, whatever that may be, discover something else. When this occurs, I feel like it breaks us down, because it is our old paradigm, our old thought process, what we were familiar with, what we were used to in our comfort zone of belief systems. And I feel that that slow process, if you're going through that preliminary slow stage of the spiritual awakening coming on, that breakdown can build up. So I have experienced, again, significant breakdowns, and I mean rock bottom moments, and I'm here to testify about some of those, extremely important breakdowns, and how, this definitely assisted me to break through and has furthered, my quest to seek, to explore, to look into higher consciousness and principles of spirituality. But it was not pretty. Breaking down slowly from 2011, when my father passed suddenly, and then 2018, when I had a complete rock bottom breakdown. It was a combination of both a slow, gradual build-up of those things I was mentioning, that I'm, noticing different things, and it's breaking down my old belief systems, etc. And I'm learning that there's a lot of flack and a lot of judgment that comes in separation with relationships, that comes when you put yourself out there, maybe go against Jesus if your family's Christian or Mormon, etc. Right? That's gradual. And then there are the tower moments, so to speak, or the moments that are unexpected catastrophes, such as I'll talk about this one year, packed a punch. Unexpected fire burns my apartment and most of the items in it to the ground. We were all safe. So of course there's things I gained then and was grateful for and still are, but the trauma I let build up in this particular year, and got in trouble with the law. I got a DUI and almost died. Thank God I did not kill anyone else. I was addicted to Xanax in a very ignorant and irresponsible way, thinking that I was entitled to take Xanax and it was okay to drink a bottle or 2 bottles a day, because I was practicing yoga and doing spiritual things and connecting with my dad. I was only putting band-aids on the wounds. I was only festering this, infectious, disgusting boil of a wound that I would have to literally break down and have blood poisoning, so to speak, in my system, almost die, right? Emotionally, mentally, with this shadow work building up, and all the things that I did not break through to understand and work on. I broke down suddenly because of the house fire. I had a miscarriage in that year, again, a following in 2018, which I handled differently, but in that year, a miscarriage. I had an incredibly difficult time in my personal arena with my marriage, which I keep very discreet, speaking with that person today, just due to respect. Shout out Capricorn energy. I'm Capricorn moon. That person is a Capricorn sun. I totally get it. So that particular time, though, it was public due to that person and I having Facebook, and we no longer do. However, at that point, 2018, it was a 6-week period where, since I've been in high school, been in one relationship, I left that marriage, went into complete tailspin for 6 weeks, thought that I was definitely moving past this, and a series of events happened. I came back. I literally, within a 4-month period, got in trouble with the law and decided all in one swoop in December, when I was, for the first time, and thank goodness the only time in my life, I was having suicidal ideations in December 2018 after 5 months of just complete and utter catastrophes that both I had chosen to take part of and manifested in a very dangerous and reckless way, such as the DUI and my coping irresponsibly with Xanax and wine for the pain of my, what I thought failed marriage and my dad's passing, right? Instead of working on myself and my wounds. What then happened is I just let it build and kept going with trying to heal, and I did. Still keeping on with YouTube videos. Probably, of course, putting YouTube videos on when I was intoxicated. Probably, of course, getting things messed up. Probably affecting the way in which I was received. And I want to be vulnerable and talk about that. It is such a beautiful thing, though, when you're doing your own healing work and not for anyone else but yourself. You can say, wow, what a hot mess, but rather than shame, realizing that the breakdown was necessary and was the pivotal point when we were hitting rock bottom. That is when our breakthrough occurred, because the good news, there is nowhere to go but up when you get broken down and hit rock bottom. Literally. You can go up or you can go down permanently. Have suicidal ideation and carry it out. Rest in peace, everybody who's ever taken that step. And I send them love and sympathy, because that is a difficult position. But when you hit rock bottom, you can stand ramifications that have come to me and trying to get everything worked out and dismissed, which is finally going to be this year. That was a lot of tangible work, doing the mental and psychological work, evaluating, getting diagnosed with anxiety disorder, making sure, it's okay if people out there have bipolar, but making sure I did not have any kind of, depressive disorder or personality disorder or, borderline personality, anything like that. Doing the, psychotherapy, like not inpatient, but outpatient, very vigorous 3-month psychotherapy course, and digging deep into those childhood and current wounds, and wounds that I had stuffed down and not realized how detrimental they were to both me and the people around me. Taking a active part in knowing that it takes, in my opinion, for me and my truth, both psychological help on, the everyday for me, like constant, at least mindful of it, practice, and also spiritual practice, and also a whole bunch of love, affection, and different ways in which you catch yourself throughout life, right? Even if you fall back into some of the patterns. I just really feel like it's common to have this experience of hitting rock bottom, especially during a spiritual awakening. And it's, like me, I think common to have a very, very dark and emotionally trying and intense and real dark and very shadow experience when we deal now I have to edit now. I don't know. So, soul family, in all honesty, when it rains, it pours, right? It pours. And when we have these rock bottom moments, they're pivotal, and they're for us and our own use and self-exploration. We do not, of course, need to take on any other additional shame or guilt from other people that are not affected. And so when you have a breakdown, it may be like mine, in which there are several contributing factors that lead to either a slow buildup and or a sudden catastrophic change that you didn't see coming, or both in my case. But I think it's beautiful what Eckhart Tolle says about his experience with this. He had suicidal ideation. He was depressed. He was having this incredibly deep, dark rock bottom moment, this breakdown. So one night during this rock bottom experience, he explains in his book, The Power of Now, and also there's many YouTube videos that you can watch if you haven't, but I'm sure you have if you're listening to me. He experienced a very, very sudden, rapid spiritual awakening that very night. He broke down due to his absolute rock bottom condition of, being suicidal and such an intense depressed feeling of self-doubt, self-sabotage. He was having poor self-worth, that we all can get to that point sometimes. He was feeling a lot of self-loathing and again, depression and suicidal ideation. So because of this absolute breakdown to the depths of what was his lowest low, rock bottom, he was able to break through due to his epiphanies and spiritual knowledge and just wisdom internally gained by this sudden spiritual elevation of awareness and a, rapid introduction to higher consciousness. So, my rock bottom was a series of events, of course, that were definitely sudden and tragic, and again, also blended with this undealt with long festering wound phenomena from many things, even things I did not know were, in my subconscious. Again, repressed and suppressed emotions, things that you hold from the past experiences that you have either purposely compartmentalized and shoved down and which not to deal with at all, or you literally it could have been an extremely traumatic experience that subconsciously is locked away, and these could be blackout memories, blocked memories, things of that nature that in my case they were festering, again, wounds that needed to come to the surface and be dealt with. And so after hitting rock bottom in 2018, I have begun a more vigorous, very difficult, long process of daily, and I promise myself and myself only, and of course the people who I affect and interact with daily, that I will continue to work on the breakthrough and focus on, of course, the breakdown and all of that in a healthy way, instead of shaming and or ignoring and or pretending that this didn't happen, that this wasn't a part of my physical and human experience here on earth. I have promised myself to do the difficult process daily until the day that I cross over, of self-actualization, of this therapeutic avenue of testifying, either on YouTube or even to myself, to my family, to therapists, to people whom care and want to receive this kind of information exchange, right? Deal with my mental health and extensively look at more advanced spiritual modalities that will allow me to further explore the shadow that will always be there, the shadow that is cast, your work, your wounds that need to be healed, things that you have picked up and or have not recognized within yourself that are things that could be a pivotal point of self-improvement. That is what I have promised myself, guys. So although, yes, when it rains, it does pour, right? It's, it's going to bring you to a point that is going to deliver you rainbows. And at that point, that is when you take a look and you honor yourself and you give yourself credit for everything that you have been through, not in a victimization sense, but in a true sense of allowing yourself a pat on the back, allowing yourself to feel as colorful as a rainbow, to feel free, liberated from that breakdown, to feel as if you had a purpose and a part in playing the roles that led up to your breakdown, because that is very important for me, finding out why did I have to suffer such an emotional trauma and a breakdown and all of these, what I consider to be personal setbacks and or sins and or shortcomings, during this increasingly self-aware and spiritually actualizing sensitive pivotal point of, ascending. What is the point? Why do we have to suffer such an emotional trauma when we're going through such an intense, energetically, overwhelming sometimes experience when we experience spiritual awakening? What is the point of breaking down when we are also experiencing a breaking down of a former paradigm? I think it is a part of our quest to seek higher spiritual awareness. It definitely goes hand in hand when we talk about the breakdowns, the wounds that we suffer, the event that led us to our breakdown, or events, plural, right? And how that can contribute to knowledge and wisdom and advice we can give others for the future, and how we can take what event led us to breaking down and let it be a breakthrough for not just our generation, but again, banking on that concept of breaking generational patterns of trauma, of addiction, of dysfunction, of codependency, maybe, of things that are long held within our, I believe, our cells, our DNA, our memories, I believe, of past generations and lifetimes of our own soul's journey, I believe, come and play a big role. And when we are broken down, we realize what role we played in leading up to the events that broke us down. And this realization comes when we take a look and we dissect these tower moments, these crisis points, the points where we were rock bottom during our spiritual awakening or otherwise. What was the critical mass? What was the event, or what caused the event? And then what behavior we can look at prior to the cause and effect of that event that contributed to all of the emotional suffering and all of the, really, really sad, sorrowful, and or frustrating anger type of negative vibrational emotions that are experienced when you are broken down to that point of feeling absolutely lost and troubled, and having to take a look at, without rose-colored glasses, what exactly, our experience meant, and what destabilized in our lives after the breakdown, and what was stabilized, what actually came out of the breakdown that was a breakthrough immediately, and what you can foresee in the future due to the old foundation and the old structure that was apparently broken, if it needed to be broken down and fixed. What positives can we get out of that? What lessons can we learn? What can we do to, ascend and seek, again, higher spiritual awareness regarding this situation? My opinion is one of the reasons why we have to suffer through these breakdowns or look at ourselves in this way, having our, mental, physical, and spiritual self break down when we are trying to ascend higher and actually strengthen those points. We're well aware of it already, right? My opinion, this is to toughen us up, because spiritual awakening is not for the weak. It is very challenging. I really want to say it's to open us up, toughen us up to what our mission is here, open us up to greater peace and serenity once we figure out these epiphanies from breaking through after the breakdown, that we didn't even know we carry some of these burdens, and we look at them afterward and we can let them go finally, sometimes after years of carting around, things that don't sometimes necessarily belong to us to take with us. I think that we are advanced beings and are all on a fast forward, so to speak. This fast forward button is on all of us, these enlightened, I think, empathic beings, if you relate, with the work we came to do here, all about love, right? Compassionate caregiving, true love, unconditional, unjudgmental love, right? I think that we are here to learn lessons, to teach lessons in treating people the way that God consciousness, or the universe, namaste, God, the all-knowing, the spirit of creation, what way we should, right? And these karmic cycles, I feel as if definitely are experienced in a rapid sense, like a fast forward, when you are doing the work of ascension. And if you are, recognizing these changes in yourself, wanting to do better, wanting to learn more, wanting to further your path to enlightenment, to try to gain more knowledge, I feel truly as if these breakdowns help us to breathe, right? What it says on this slide. It helps us to observe and embrace what we observe. Helps us to listen to our internal compass and pause. Relax and not give ourselves such a bad time on top of trauma that we already have. Attend to others, but more importantly, make sure we're attending to ourselves and our own wounds rather than, like me in the past, trying to attend to other people's as an aversion to what was boiling and festering inside of me. Breathing and literally understanding that no one can judge you. Although it seems difficult because we are often judged, especially by people that mean something to us, we need to take a long pause and realize it truly is us and only us at the time of our death who, if you believe like I do in an afterlife, you will, and only you, be the judge and final jury. I do believe, namaste if you believe something different, I do believe that there is no bad guy in the sky, so to speak, like certain program religions have taught, that will punish us and judge us for everything. I do believe that the universe is full of morality, love, compassion, fairness, value of a higher order. However, I feel that that value, although people disagree with me, I feel that value has an emphasis on our own journey and soul being intelligent enough emotionally and spiritually to recognize our own follies and own setbacks and lower vibrational patterns within physical lifetimes, and then be our own judge and feel the pain and emotional strife that was, inflicted upon others, feel it ourselves, walk in others' shoes. I truly feel that we are our own God conscious in a sense. So whatever that means to you, just know that you are certainly not the only person who has broken down, because the truth about when we have breakdowns is breaking down is but a process. So surrender to the process. The truth is we all break down. Truly, we all break down it, but only the brave, truly brave and vulnerable and empathic warriors break through to solid ground after a breakdown. Remember, a lot of people don't make it past the point of where Eckhart Tolle, again, was suicidal and almost ended his life. Can you imagine? He wouldn't have had a best-selling novel, several books and TED Talks, etc., that allow people also the freedom of liberating themselves of burdens of feeling low self-worth just because their own self-talk that's negative or others, right? So it's imperative, I feel, when we're on this journey and we recognize then, like I have recognized and done a lot of tangible work spiritually, psychologically, physically, mentally regarding my breakdown, I feel, to me, acknowledging and being responsible is such a big part. And I mean truly always dissecting and in a healthy way without shame and blame shifting, taking on accountability and acknowledgement for the part that we played and acknowledging all of the different reverberating factors, the repercussions that have come about it, both positive and negative. I think that it's good to take a look at the truth, the good, the bad, and the ugly truth, taking a look at the truth to other people, what their truth is, and examining that for yourself, truly trying to, again, step in someone else's shoes, acknowledging your mistakes, acknowledging that you have a shadow, you have these elements of you in which are not pretty. We all do. We're made of dark and light, some more dark, some more light, right? It's about balancing and understanding, acknowledging, and being accountable for these causes and effects of your own actions. I know my breakdown had so many effects on other people in which I work daily. Since then, 2018, December, let's say January 2019, since then, working actively to try to be better, more vulnerable, more transparent, and, more open as a sponge to even accept things that previously 2 months ago I wouldn't have accepted, if that makes sense. Just breaking down any self-built or other people have built for you, these false narratives about the scenario, being true to your story and acknowledging that it's okay. It's okay that you are human, and that is what humans do. Unfortunately, or fortunately, sometimes we break down. So these setbacks that we have due to our breakdown can truly be something that will potentially grow into a breakthrough, an epiphany. You can and will break through after breaking down, I promise you, with self-love and moments of doubt and self-loathing that pop up again during those dark nights of the soul that will come to me still in this journey. Having self-love to be resilient and bounce back and give yourself the entitlement to self-forgiveness. Understand that self-forgiveness and letting things go after you've taken accountability, taken responsibility, acknowledged all these factors. That is not just sweeping it under the rug, and it is not sugarcoating anything. It is not a pass to say that everything that you did was of moral standard. No, but it is your right as a sojourner on this planet to process and absorb and not let anything stain or jade you for your future and the future missions. You know, if we all broke down and stayed in that position, what a sad world it would be, right? Accountability is imperative, and I feel that this quote is beautiful. Good men, or we should say people, good people are bound by conscience and liberated by accountability. That's by Wes Fessler. I truly feel that I'll leave you off with the liberating invitation to take responsibility, as I've done with this video, putting the most personal information I've ever put on social media, but speaking with my children and other people. It is my will and choice to do so, and with their permission, out of respect, I chose to do it. So I give you the open invitation to take accountability, acknowledge your breakdowns and how you've broken through, or how my breakdowns have impacted you. Take responsibility on your own. What, when I speak of this, does it make you feel like? Because that was truly the point of doing this video. If you are thinking judgmental thoughts, perhaps that's something within you that you're projecting, because we are responsible for the decisions that we make. However, we are not responsible for the actions of others, right? Often we are not responsible for adverse circumstances of our lives. We are responsible for our reaction, however, to the action of others and these adverse circumstances. So what made us have such a reaction is still up to us, and something that we need to look at the responsibility and what was contributing factors toward that. Take accountability again, right, to our breakdown. The, responsibility should be placed respectively. Therefore, as you self-reflect, you process the guilt, the experience, the events, the breakdown, the breaking down of old paradigms. Treat your wounds by eliminating unnecessary victimization for yourself and other people. You should task yourself, or I invite you to task yourself with the responsibility of removing the burden of carrying shame. However, moving toward and implementing the liberating feeling of taking accountability and absorbing the lessons within that breakdown. So blessings, love, and light, guys. I send you nothing but tenderness and positive vibes at this time, and always, it is so imperative to always be real. And I try to take a new look at myself all the time based on the work that I'm doing personally and also interactions with others. So I just want to thank you. If you have interacted with me, best believe I appreciate it. I'm filled with gratitude. I'm filled with sincerity. If I've interacted with you, it is sincere, whether or not I am on a joking, candid, silly level, or in a very personal, deep, and energetically wealthy of an interaction and exchange type of level. I truly, really, I'm seriously so thankful for this opportunity of having the technology, although sometimes the internet is intense with the negative repercussions. I feel this is such a blessing. I believe by examining my own role in this all, you know, evaluating my trauma, the program bias, my dysfunctional patterns, it helped me deal with everything, and it will help you deal with everything and the lessons you came here to learn as well. Because when we accept our role, when we examine our role within it all, I feel that we, you know, reflect, we regenerate, we change our dynamic, we change our trajectory, and we change our path. So thanks for being on this journey with me, guys, and I send you nothing but blessings, love, and light always.